Okay, today was a big natural disaster day. It was forecasted by VentureSky.com. But apparently, the news doesn't pay attention to that one. I've been paying attention to VentureSky for about a year now, and it is able to predict in advance, even the intensity, uh, up to a week in advance before others recognize it. Uh, it's interesting that this one happens to be named Michael. Michael is a Hebrew word who is like God, and it certainly is the wrath of God in biblical terms, though that's holding to the incorrect belief that the Old Testament God is a wrathful God, not understanding that God tried to communicate with the people during the flood, for example, and they just wouldn't listen, and only Noah listened, and they wouldn't listen to Noah, and so Noah was the only one who built a boat and survived the storm. With Michael, this was the fourth largest hurricane to hit the United States. It almost reached Category 5, uh, and it is the the strongest overland hurricane ever. It was a Category 4. Uh, while over the land, normally they drop immediately. By the time it hit Georgia, it got lowered to a Category 3. And so this ends up being the biggest or the strongest category for Georgia. And it's going to go straight through to the Carolinas, who were just hit not too long ago by the flooding there. Sort of like a crisscrossing like the solar eclipses. The one on August 21st, and then the next one on April 8th, 2024. And people are, of course, are trying to say, is this a result of global warming? Uh, yes and no. No, in that we would expect to see a consistent increased pattern rather than random occurrences. Uh, the fact that it's a random occurrence is what is kind of disturbing. But the intensity is clear that what's going on is definitely man-made, whether by destroying our environment or by affecting our atmosphere, our sky. Um, you need to understand where I come from on that. For example, uh, the Dust Bowl in the United States in the early 1900s. We caused that. That resulted in a natural disaster that we caused by destroying the earth. And now we have Tornado Alley because we destroyed all the trees in that area. And so, of course, tornadoes occur yearly because we've destroyed the land. And I'm one who purports to encourage turning the earth into a garden rather than leaving it in a wild state because in the wild state, humans cannot survive, and we definitely can't destroy the complete Earth's resources, but those who are in control of government and business, they're all about destroying the environment. And as a result, that has intensified the temperature of the Earth, and we are looking for a catastrophe. Uh, their UN scientists are saying 2040, but I had found a video where a guy was going over the scientific information on a computer program, and uh, had already indicated 2040 was a deadly time for the world. 2020, I believe, is when he said it will first start to have irreparable effects, that we need to uh, reverse what's going on before 2020, because the path that we're going on is increasing exponentially. And he was looking at just the methane that has been leaked into the atmosphere, the permafrost in Canada, and the effects that the release of methane has on the Earth. And so people who want money, they don't care about the after effects. They get as much as they can before it's all gone. So people like to be the one to get the last endangered species and cause it to go extinct, as long as they get the last one. They just don't care. And as a result, we destroy our Earth. We make it uninhabitable for humans. So both in a wild state and in a depleted state, humans cannot survive on Earth. We have no choice but to turn it into a garden if we're going to survive as a human species. And nobody gets that. So we're experiencing the situation just like in the days of Noah, as recorded in the Bible, because we've destroyed our Earth. Yeah. I was trying to think of something else in relation. Oh, yeah. And you'd think that our president would stop everything to focus on rescuing those involved with the hurricane. But no, he's, doing his same old tactic of trying to sneak things through without anybody knowing about it, because the news is all focused on Michael. And so Trump passed an act today. It affects Obamacare. And so I don't know the full details of it. As a result, I just saw a little tiny clip about the matter of him signing something. And then I don't know if he's having a rally today or if this is his one day of the week where he takes a break. But also something else that happened today, a stock market crash. Over 800 points in the Dow. So, yeah, that's major. And it came very close to passing 27,000, but then just crashed. And so that's a big news story that is being overshadowed by Michael. And again, we're faced with multiple hurricanes within 1 year striking the United States. And I looked up the hurricanes that struck the United States throughout the past 100 years when they were able to categorize hurricane strength. And 2017, 2018 are the big years. This is when it's all picking up. And we had the cyclone bombs in the wintertime. And the strange thing is that the number of hurricanes has been less, but they've been more on the mainland and more severe. So yeah, we're under attack by those who are in power. They've destroyed our earth, all for money, and have enslaved the people, and have subjected us to these natural disasters as well. So we need to focus on those who are responsible. Those who are in power don't want us to do that. They want to say, oh, we need to focus on other things that are more important. We don't want to talk about blame right now. That's because they're the ones to blame. Nobody who's to blame wants to be blamed. They're the ones who overturn our environmental policies. They're the ones who establish a hazardous power source, and they, by their laws and by those with money who make things happen, we suffer as a people. And those in power need to be held accountable, and not just through a vote, because voting doesn't change anything. We just go back and forth between two parties, and nobody gets held responsible for what they've done. And nothing gets overturned, and nothing is changed. Even Obama, as a Democrat, he held off the economic collapse of Bush, but in order to do that, he had to drastically increase the United States debt. So under Obama, the debt became impossible to pay off. We'll never pay it off. We'll never even pay off the interest every year. And then Trump comes in and makes it worse than that. So it's like we're headed for horrible ruin, economically, governmentally, and naturally. And many believe in biblical prophecy. Many don't believe in biblical prophecy, but yet look at what's going on. If you don't believe in biblical prophecy, you believe in science. Look at what's going on. Scientists recognize the threat to our world. It's from a religious person's point of view, that's the end of the world that they knew of from the Bible. And so whether you believe in the Bible or you don't, we're looking at a worldwide disaster, not just for the United States. And so we the people are the only ones that are going to be able to do anything to stop it, and our government will refuse to do it. Phone's acting weird. Alright, so, yeah, I just wanted to point it out that Michael is a distraction, and Trump is pulling a few things behind our backs, and there are other news stories that are huge today that we need to remember, because when things happen like this, we tend to forget everything else that's going on and how it all connects together in the future when we get affected by it. So, lest we forget.